You know that feeling, right? If you're running a business, you're sitting on just mountains of data, but trying to get a straight answer can feel, well, impossible. So many companies, especially in a fast-moving industry like cannabis, are struggling to keep their data clean, figure out what it all means, and actually use it to get ahead.
So let's just cut to the chase, because this is the single most important question you have to ask yourself. Is your data a powerful asset, something that's pushing you forward and giving you the insights you need to make smarter moves? Or is it an anchor, just a messy, confusing weight that's holding your entire business back?
But here's the thing. The good news is you absolutely have a choice here. In this explainer, we're going to lay out a clear roadmap, a way to turn that data chaos into a real engine for growth.
Okay, so the very first step is to just get back to basics. Seriously, all of your business data, I don't care how complicated it seems, it really just falls into two main buckets. And getting the difference between them is the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. This slide really breaks it down nicely. On one side, you've got your master data. I want you to think of this as the stable skeleton of your business. It's the who and the what. And on the other side, you've got transactional data. This is the dynamic, day-to-day stuff, the when and the how. It's kind of like the lifeblood that's always flowing through that skeleton.
So let's make this a little more real. Say you bring on a new customer. You create a customer master record, right? It's got their name, their address, maybe some special pricing you've given them. When you add a new product to your inventory, boom, that's a product master. Same thing goes for your suppliers and even your financial chart of accounts. This is that core foundational stuff that doesn't really change day to day.
And then the transactional data is everything that happens using that master data. Every single time you write up a sales order, or log a customer purchase, or track your inventory moving from point A to point B, you're creating transactional data. These are all the little events, the granular details that tell the story of what's actually happening in your business every single day.
Okay, so you've got these two kinds of data. But here's the catch, right? They almost always live in different, totally disconnected systems. And that brings us to the next super important piece of the puzzle, making sure all these systems can actually talk to each other. So we have to talk about this idea of a single source of truth. I mean, think about it. When your sales team pulls a report on last month's revenue, and your finance team pulls the same report, do they get the same number? If the answer is no, you have a problem. You don't have a single source of truth. You've got to decide which system officially owns each piece of data to stop the chaos and make sure everyone is reading from the same sheet of music.
And this slide just lays out perfectly why this matters so much. A salesperson closes one deal in your CRM, just one. But that single click sets off a huge chain reaction. It's got to create a sales order in your ERP, which then tells your HR system to calculate the commission, which then has to update your general ledger. If those systems aren't connected just right, the whole thing falls apart, and the real-world costs pile up fast. We're talking wrong commission payments, bad revenue reports, and some pretty unhappy customers.
All right, now let's imagine you're upgrading your tech. You've bought a shiny new system. How in the world do you get all your old, historical data into the new one without it turning into a complete nightmare? Well, that is the art of data migration.
And it's a step that, let's be honest, gets ignored way too often. Companies get all excited about the new software and its cool features, but they totally forget that the software is basically useless without clean, accurate data fueling it. Putting off the migration part, it's just a recipe for disaster.
The whole process really boils down to three key stages. First up, you cleanse. You have to go in and find and fix all the typos, the duplicates, the junk data from your old system. You've heard it before, garbage in, garbage out. It's so true. Then you map it. Your old system might have a field called product ID, but the new one calls it a product numbering. Mapping is just connecting those dots. And finally, you migrate. That's the actual move, getting all that clean, mapped data into its new home.
So, getting your data into the new system, that's a huge win. Pat yourself on the back. But the job isn't done, not even close. How do you stop it from getting messy all over again? That's where you need to start thinking about long-term data governance.
And listen, data governance sounds kind of corporate and stuffy, right? But it's not about buying more software. It's a discipline. It's about creating clear rules of the road for your data. Like who gets to create a new customer record? What information is absolutely required before you can create a new product SKU? Who is ultimately responsible for the quality? It's all about process and people.
So how do you actually do it? Well, you start by tightening up who can even touch that critical master data. You create standard procedures for data entry so everybody does it the exact same way.
You make sure your people are actually trained properly, and you build processes to constantly watch for and fix errors as they happen. This isn't a one-and-done fix, it's a commitment, a continuous effort to keep things clean.
Okay, we've done all this hard work. We understand our data, we've integrated it, we migrated it, we're governing it. Now we finally get to the really fun part, the payoff. What can you actually do with all of this clean, beautiful data? Because at the end of the day, this is the simple truth, isn't it? All the data in the world is completely worthless if you can't actually use it to make better, faster, and smarter decisions for your business.
Once you have that solid data foundation, the doors just fly open. You can build customized reports and BI dashboards that give you a real-time pulse on your business. From there, you can start using predictive analytics to maybe forecast future demand. And ultimately, you can tap into machine learning and AI to find hidden patterns you'd never see on your own, and even automate really complex processes. But seriously, none of this cool stuff is even remotely possible with messy data.
So I'll leave you with this. Think about your own business. Your data right now is telling you a story. It's telling you about your customers, about your products, about your operations. The only question is, have you built a foundation you need to finally be able to listen to it?